Hey guys, it's TWE here, and this is going to be my second YouTube video. Now, what we have for you guys today is something actually pretty interesting. It was in one of our live streams that we had in our Discord community. You know, if you haven't already joined, or if you're already part of it, then you already know who I am and how I trade. Obviously, I'm a swing trader, but I do have this motto that if you are a swing trader, intraday scalper, it is very simple. Yeah, you know, you're trading a specific style because of, you know, maybe how your lifestyle is or whatever background you come from. You know, that's just part of your personality. You should adapt to different market conditions, right? So meaning, in my case, even though I'm a swing trader, I have this idea of you should enter as a scalper and hold as a swing trader. So if you're not part of our Discord, my link is in the bio along with my free ebook. Now, in this NAS100 recap, we kind of have a little bit of a zone here. It kind of reacted to it. It reacted to a demand, obviously, or some people like to call it accumulation. It then created what's called the transaction. So it kind of formed like a supply here. Some people call it a distribution. Like I said, guys, it's all the same thing, just different terminology. So let's go ahead and hop on the lower time frame. Now that we're on the lower time frame, I'm going to go ahead and look at the origin of this specific 15-minute zone that we marked out, right? Because remember, guys, this is the 15-minute supply, and it's definitely reacting to it. Now, the biggest question is, what is it reacting to? That's the name of the game, guys. You need to find where the reactions are happening and what kind of reaction is going to happen. All right, so we already have one reaction, right? It's the demand, and it has a really good reaction, actually. Then it forms a 1-minute supply, and all this is happening inside that 15-minute supply that we already had marked out, right? So now when we drag it across, it's having a great reaction that actually, you know, for some people, this is good enough to take an entry. But if you want to narrow down some more, you could definitely do that. Now, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and take an entry off of this. I know, you know, maybe some people don't like the kind of stop loss that, you know, we have here. But remember, it is an indice. You don't want to narrow down your stop loss too much. You want to give it just enough space. So right there, it's already good enough, you know, for most people, 1 to 4. You know, and that 1 to 4 can grow to 1 to 11, 12, 13, whichever you decide to do. You know, it all depends on, you know, your psychology and your risk management plan. Does that fit in your plan? That's the biggest question you got to ask yourself, because if you're going to be taking, you know, these kinds of trades, or if you're going to hold it as a swing trader, intraday, whatever the case may be, you got to really know what you're really looking for. Now, in this case, we also even have a full-blown Elliott wave cycle. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 motive cycle, and then it drops, right? And now when it's dropping here, that's where you can really pay attention that it's a correction, right? So there's a lot of different theories that are involved in this. Now, here's a perfect example of, you know, it was a 1 to 14, you know, and it all depends on the kind of stop loss you have. Like I said, your risk management is going to really be determined off of multiple things. It's going to be determined on what are you trying to aim for the end of the month. You know, in my case, I always try to aim for at least 10%, you know, gain on my account at the end of the month, you know, but it all depends on how many trades, so the frequency of trades you're going to be doing and the duration of each trade, you know, because at the end of the day, you got to look at how everything's going to stack up. So in this case, I, you know, widened my stop loss, but it gave me a 1 to 10. Maybe in my specific trading plan, that's exactly what I'm looking for. You know, you don't want to get a trade that's, let's say, such a tight stop loss and then get wicked out. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to make money, not, you know, gamble. Now, another big thing is building expectations. Now, if you can't even hold the trade, in this case, it's 2 hours. If you can't even hold the trade for 2 hours without over managing it, then that should be a big eye opener. You should probably take a step back and really try to evaluate what exactly are you looking for, you know? Now, the biggest thing that I'm going to continue to look for in here is obviously, you know, we already got our first entry, but I'm looking for order flow. That's my biggest thing. I want to find order flow. So just in case if, let's say, I missed my first entry, you have multiple opportunities. You need to understand that there's never going to just be that one entry or perfect entry. That's just not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. So you got to be mentally prepared to, obviously find re-entry points. So look how quickly we found, another re-entry point. I mean, it took 2 hours for that first trade to play out. It probably took another 2 hours or so for the second one to actually come to a re-entry point, and you can get literally the exact same amount of RR out of it if you just play it right. And this one was with a bigger stop loss, actually. So with that being said, it really just all depends on what you're truly aiming for. Try to take a second when taking trades and really evaluate your plan, have a plan, stick to the plan, create your rules, never go off of the plan. In this case, I'm finding a re-entry point. I usually don't like to take a re-entry point if I already caught the first one. Personally, I just don't do that, because usually when I'm invested into the first entry, I already hit the percentage gain that I'm trying to make in that duration of time. I'm not trying to take another one, try to stack trades on top of each other. I rarely do that. And if I do, that would probably be like a long-term swing trade, like I'm holding a swing trade for like a month. But like I said, that is relatively rare. But speaking about stacking your trades, that's another way to actually explain order flow. A lot of people struggle with that. That's something that is, very overlooked in at least our trading community and our Discord. It is very simple to learn. It's kind of similar to market structure, but it's just an explanation of how, buyers and sellers are basically taking control, or supply and demand, whoever's taking control. So in this case, I'm kind of showing some order flow. It looks very similar to Elliott wave, market structure, all kinds of different theories that, everyone's kind of used to at this point. Now, the whole point of order flow is simply just to identify who's in control and where our entries can be. Because let me tell you something, you're never going to find that first entry, or if you go into, let's say, the theory of Wyckoff, right? There is 4 different types of schematicas. The first ones are the ones that, there's going to be the reversals, right? Then the second ones are going to be the ones that are continuations. You're rarely going to find the reversal ones. You're relatively going to find the continuations more likely than not. But in this case, demand is in control while, supply is failing, right? And it taps a higher time frame supply. So the biggest question is, what's going to happen from that? What kind of reaction are we going to get, right? That higher time frame supply is created from, maybe a lot of sellers hopped into the market, right? Maybe the institutions are, taking a big sell. Now, in this case, that's when you see supply start, blowing through demand. Obviously, you want to see a reaction, because that's the biggest thing. But then it becomes a forever cycle of different order flows, right, that are created. Let's say a supply or a demand is in control, right? Then you ultimately have to look at it as like, well, depending on who is control at that given moment, it might tap into a higher time frame, supply or demand zone and change the whole cycle. And then ultimately, what is it doing? It's following market structure. It's following overall what higher time frame market structure wants to do. That's another confluence to add to your trading. Pay attention to it, because how I'm looking at it is that demand, yes, it's being used as order flow right now and it's in control. But then after, it plays out for a little bit and it's breaking through supply, it taps into a higher time frame supply and it starts forming supply order flow. That's the biggest thing about this, because now that's when all of those previous demand zones are now being used as liquidity, which that is a whole nother concept in itself. And order flow is just another way to actually explain different liquidity points being created. And that's what it is, honestly. It's just a constant cycle of liquidity being created and being taken. So to kind of sum it up, and everything we kind of went over today is look for order flow, right? And when you're looking for order flow, look for reactions on the 4-hour supply and demand, right? And when it taps into these 4-hour quote unquote supply and demands, those are the reversal supply and demands. Your entry should be on the continuations. And to find entries, I would say look for the immediate transaction. Immediate transaction always going to happen off of the reaction of the 4-hour supply and demand, which is the reversal supply and demands. That's my biggest advice when trying to look for, entries. And obviously order flow, you should be looked at as re-entry points. So to kind of sum up what happened here, it tapped into a 4-hour supply. It's been downtrending, tapped into a 15-minute demand, reacted to it, tapped into a 15-minute supply, then created order flow from that, right? And then we had 1-minute order flow, which gave us one clear entry, which is the first good entry, and then it had another retest of the order flow and gave us a second entry. If you need any more info, guys, check the link in my bio, and as always, stay profitable.